Ah, damn it. Screwed things up here. My camera's in the way. I got two cameras going on. Fuck it. What a way to start the fucking show, huh? All right. I don't even know what the fuck this looks like right now. All right. Okay. This was a hastily put together episode of the Romano Report podcast. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Okay. This is the reason why I'm doing the live stream here today. And that is, you know what? Fuck this. This is coming down. I need a better setup, I swear to God. Okay. There we go. This video is going to be in lower quality than I had wanted to, but yeah, yo, what's up? What's going on? Don't ask, my man. Do not ask. Okay. I don't have a lot of time. Wasn't planning on doing this. But I see the breaking news that the Orange Criminal Buffoon has ordered the Department of Justice to raid the offices of an elections office in Georgia. Now, we don't have a lot of specifics. I'll read to you from the Associated Press what we know at this moment, which isn't a hell of a lot. But I wanted to share my initial thoughts about this. Oh, yeah, there's my notes. Okay. Am I set now? I mean, geez. Could I be any less professional? All right. Okay, let me read this article. Headline: FBI agents execute search warrant at Fulton County Elections Office near Atlanta. FBI agents were executing a search warrant at the Fulton County Elections Office near Atlanta on Wednesday. An FBI spokesperson said agents were executing a court-authorized law enforcement action at the county's main election office in Union City, just south of Atlanta. The spokesperson declined to provide any further information, citing an ongoing matter. That's it. That's all we know. I mean, the article is printed out to a couple pages. There was no point because there was no news in any of it. It's just a recap of Trump's phony election, stolen elections claims, what happened with Fani Willis, and just all that crap. But that's all we know. Streamer. Sure, what the hell? I'm not familiar. I know what Twitch is, not really all that familiar. Anyway, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So, what do we know? Well, Fulton County is the county that was at the center of Trump's stolen elections claims. This is the county where Fani Willis indicted his orange ass. She then, it was discovered, was sleeping with her appointed prosecutor handling the matter. So she got removed. Not that that's a legal basis to remove, but it's pretty fucking stupid in such a high-profile case to sleep with your lead prosecutor. Pretty fucking dumb. So she was removed. Then the court appointed a new prosecutor who promptly, essentially, dismissed the fucking case. And, so that's what happened there. Trump should be in prison for that case, among others, but he's not. So is this legal? That was the first question I got here. Is this legal? Well, I assume it's legal. I mean, it's a legal search warrant. A judge must have signed off on this. What they're looking for, I don't know. What are they saying is the crime that they're investigating? I have no idea. We don't know shit. All we know is that the FBI is executing a search warrant. That's it. We can make assumptions, but we don't know anything. Now, my initial thoughts about this are, here's what I think Trump's going after. Because this doesn't say he's going after the Secretary of State's office, right? They would have compiled all the elections data from all the counties across the state. Trump apparently, at least according to the reporting, and maybe we'll get new information about this later, but right now it's just Fulton County. You would think if he's trying to prove that the entire election was stolen, that he would go after the Secretary of State's information because they have all of it. Instead, he's just going after Fulton County. Well, what does that tell me? That tells me, oh, keep in mind this also. If he's investigating any crimes, most federal crimes have a 5-year statute of limitations. We're already past that. So he can't bring any charges for most crimes, although a judge signed off on this. Now, a judge wouldn't sign off on a crime that has passed, for a search warrant to prove a crime for which the statute of limitations has expired. Not a competent judge anyway, not a non-corrupt judge. So what the hell's going on? Well, there are certain criminal offenses that have a longer statute of limitations. And sometimes if there is the mail involved, that could stretch out the statute of limitations. So my initial thought is that he is investigating and hoping to find some instance of, elections fraud committed, by a mail-in ballot. That's what I think he's going after, because he also has a hate on for mail-in voting, right? Voting by mail. So what I think he's trying to do is find 1 or 2 cases of fraud and then say, aha, that means the whole election was stolen, just as I've been saying. That's what I think he's probably doing here. Or, this is just a complete fishing expedition, of course, but you need probable cause to get a warrant. So I don't know. Doesn't mean they can't find some scumbag witness to lie under oath, for the probable cause affidavit. I really don't know. This could be just to punish Fulton County, to make them go through a raid because he has a hate on for Fulton County. I don't know. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Maybe next will be the Secretary of State's office, because he has a hate on for Brad Raffensperger, and he's still the Secretary of State. So who knows? The other thing is that the timing, Donald Trump is king of distraction. You can't, whenever one of these things happen, you have to look at the timing. And what's going on right now? Well, he's got the lowest polls he's ever had coming out right now. He's taken shit from all sides because of his thug tactics in Minneapolis. He has removed Greg Bovino and put in Tom Homan. Not that that's much of an improvement, but as compared to Greg Bovino, Tom Homan is a more responsible guy than Greg Bovino. But I mean, come on, that's a low fucking bar. Anyway, because of all that, because he's pulling out Bovino, who the base loves, because he's a thug and he dresses like a Nazi, and, under his direction, Border Patrol is literally murdering people. And so the cult loves this. The Trump base loves it. And now they're actually pissed that Trump replaced Bovino. There's a lot of big name MAGA influencers who are furious over this. On top of that, they're worried because Trump said he's going to, what did he say? De-escalate a bit is what he said, the situation in Minneapolis. They don't want no de-escalation. They want more. They want more protesters to be murdered. And that's not hyperbole. They do. They literally do. So they're not happy with any of this. Then Trump comes out and says, because the only thing that they can do to defend these murderers, the murderers who killed Alex Preddy, is to say that he had a gun, because there's that's not a legit reason anyway, because he wasn't brandishing it. Nothing. He didn't threaten anybody. So just because he had a gun isn't reason to shoot him dead in the street, execute him by putting 10 bullets in his back. But it's the only thing they've got. And so they've been doing that. Of course, that's pissing off some in the base. Trump literally said yesterday, he was asked about it, and he said, look, you can't have guns. What? You can't have guns? That's what he said. So a lot of these MAGAs are pissed. He's underwater on every major issue. The Republican Party is up in arms. They're scared to death that they're going to get their asses kicked in the midterms, which, God willing, they will. That's why they had this fat orange slob out on the campaign trail last night in Iowa, talking about affordability. And what did he do? More of the same. He lied about the issue. There's no affordability problem. There's no affordability problem. Everything is so cheap since I became president. That was essentially what he was saying. Okay, real winner of a message there. So he's trying desperately to distract. So I think more than anything else, it's about distraction. My cult's pissed off at me. What do? Well, I'll go raid the elections office in Georgia because they all support me on my bullshit stolen elections claims. So that's a good distraction. That's a way to get them all back on my side. Just push more of the stolen elections bullshit. Here's the problem. Now they're going to be expecting prosecutions. Now, he doesn't think, past the moment. He's like a fucking goldfish that way. There's no strategy. There's no looking down the road. Of course, they tell us that, he is 5 steps ahead of everybody else. Nothing could be further from the truth. Donald Trump can't think past this exact moment right now. And right now, he's scared. He's desperate. He wants a distraction. So raid Fulton County. They've probably been sitting on this. This is, they probably have a whole bunch of things that are in a distraction folder. Break glass in case we need a distraction. They've probably got a whole bunch of these things. Invade Venezuela, threaten Greenland, threaten Mexico, threaten Canada, tariffs. Oh, threaten Cuba. Whatever. They got a whole bunch of these things, and one of them is raid Fulton County. Maybe raid the Secretary of State's office. Maybe that's a different one. Maybe that's, if they need further distractions somewhere down the line, they'll raid the offices of the Secretary of State of Georgia. Then you have all these other states where he claims there's election fraud. So maybe next week we'll raid offices in Pennsylvania and Wisconsin and Michigan and Arizona, all the swing states he lost in 2020. There's no end to the potential distractions here. So you can't divorce the timing from what's going on here. So I think this is first and foremost about distraction. But as I said, he's going to have a bit of a problem because now the cult is going to be expecting prosecutions. And if Trump is just looking for 1 or 2 cases of, fraudulent votes by mail or something, I mean, if you look hard enough, you can find an instance or two, 1 or 2 here or there of anything. We do not have mass vote fraud problems in this country, but you can always find 1 or 2 examples. And even if you don't find a real example, just say you did. Just indict an innocent person. He doesn't give a shit about that. Innocent people die for his political purposes. So he certainly doesn't care about charging someone. And he doesn't care, and Pam Bondi doesn't care about charging people with crimes for which there is no evidence of their guilt whatsoever. We've seen this over and over again. So if he has to indict innocent people, that's okay. The cult won't care. And then once the case gets dismissed, if he indicts someone and then the case gets dismissed, then he gets to complain about a left-wing judge. And then that'll get the cult on his side. So this all works in his favor. Except for the fact that, they're going to demand big name prosecutions. They're going to want Brad Raff. If you're going into Georgia to investigate election fraud, then you got to come out with an indictment on Brad Raffensperger. Or maybe Brian Kemp, the governor. Is he still the governor? I think he's still the governor. Pretty sure. Although he's a pretty popular governor down there in Georgia. And I think Brad Raffensperger, they both got reelected. So I don't know. That's a toughie. But, Trump is on his revenge tour, and he hates both of those people. I mean, he wants to see both of those in prison. I'd like to see his, Nixon had an enemies list. Trump's got to have a prison. He wants to see in prison. Electoral college, that's another whole discussion, which I will have one day. I've had it before. We'll talk about the electoral college more, but let's stick with this, shall we? So yeah, that's what I think's going on, but we don't know. All we know is that the FBI raided Fulton County, this Fulton County Elections Office. That's it. We don't know why. I'm sure we'll find out soon enough, because warrants typically, the application, the affidavit, you have to, in order to get a search warrant, let me back up. I don't want to assume people know all this stuff. In order to get a search warrant from a judge, you have to apply for one. And you need to tell the judge what crime you're investigating and why you believe there is probable cause to believe that a crime has been committed, and why you have probable cause to believe that evidence of that crime can be found in the place you want to search. Okay, so those are the things you have to establish. How do you establish that? Someone's got to make a sworn statement under oath. Okay, so you will have someone, usually this is FBI, so probably the chief investigator on this case, an FBI agent, will swear out an affidavit, alleging the facts that lead them to develop probable cause that a crime was committed and that evidence of that crime will be found in the place that they want to search. So that's what you need to do. Now, typically those things are made public. Sometimes they're under seal for a while, but I'm sure at some point we're going to see, maybe they've been released already. I honestly don't know. Hold on a second. I'm juggling a whole bunch of shit here today, and I got to let... okay. There we go. So maybe that information is out there already. I don't honestly know. I haven't had a chance to look into it. But if it's not, I'm sure we'll find out at some point. We'll find out what the crime is that they're alleging and what the probable cause is. And then we'll see. But right now we don't know shit. And just completely speculating here, I'm guessing that they're trying to, because like I said, you got that statute of limitations problem. And if you're alleging crimes that were committed in 2020 and it's now 2026, yeah, you're going to have a problem there. No judge is going to give you a search warrant to investigate a crime for which the statute of limitations has expired. So you're going to have to allege some crime that falls within the statute of limitations. And so that's why I'm thinking maybe there's a mail fraud aspect to this, but we'll see. I'm just spitballing here. But we know there's no widespread fraud. Look, we're talking about fucking Georgia. Republican governor, Republican Secretary of State, both endorsed Trump, both voted for Trump. They're not engaged in fraud to swing the election to Joe Biden. Okay, so we know that didn't happen. But Trump has got to, one, he's got to distract, and two, he would love to bolster his bullshit claims of a stolen election. So what do? You go in there and you find something. Find one person who voted by mail and lied on their ballot, or because these when you vote by mail, you gotta, I don't know how it is in Georgia, but oftentimes you got to put your driver's license on there, all kinds of shit. You have to request a ballot. There's opportunities in there for fraud. You claim to be someone you're not. You use, phony ID, something like this. So they're trying to find something like that. Or it could be as innocent as somebody wrote the wrong number, for their driver's license number, or put the wrong date, and Trump will declare that that's fraud. And he doesn't have to find widespread fraud. He just needs to find one instance, just one person to charge with, fraud, vote fraud. And then he'll say, see, the whole fucking election in the state of Georgia was rigged. And again, as I say, he doesn't even have to find a good case. He could just make it up. Just pull an innocent person at random, make sure that person's a Democrat, or he doesn't care, but, it'd be better if it's a Democrat, better if it's a black person, all, the people that the MAGA cult hates. Get yourself a minority Democrat and accuse them of vote fraud. That's it. Just one instance, whether they did it or not, indict them. And then when the case gets thrown out of court, you blame the liberal judge, even if it was a judge that you appointed. Say it's a liberal judge, and that's it. The cult will buy it, and you will be able to say, "See, we found evidence of vote fraud in Georgia." That's what I think's going on there. But again, the timing, this is all about distraction. I'm going to do a video tomorrow on the Romano Report about how bad it is for Trump right now. It is fucking bad. And if there's some new polling data out there, whoo, it's bad. It's bad for Trump, and these Republicans have got to be shitting themselves. And they've got to be panicked. And you know who you could tell that they're panicked? Because they have a spokesperson. Thom Tillis, the retiring Republican senator from North Carolina, he is out there increasingly just laying into the Trump administration. Now, he's too cowardly still to blame Trump directly. He's blaming his advisors, particularly Stephen Miller, but he's blaming all the advisors. It's never Trump's fault, right? If there's anything good or something they approve, it's because Trump's a genius. Anything goes wrong, it's because Trump has bad advisors. But I guess he's not smart enough to choose good advisors or to, decide on his own. Look, if Thom Tillis knows that this is bad advice, why isn't Trump smart enough to know that it's bad advice? None of it makes any fucking sense. But the fact that Thom Tillis doesn't have to stand for re-election, he is giving voice. He's talking to all these Republicans in Congress. Right? He's doing the speaking on their behalf. Because they still have to run for re-election, so they don't want to put themselves out there. Thom Tillis is doing it for them. That's what I think. Anyway, I got to run in a couple of minutes here. Your family loves Trump. Oh, man. Carrie Lee, that sucks. I'm sorry. I actually have a comment that was someone made a really long, thoughtful comment to one of my videos from somebody who has a MAGA family and asked for my advice. Not my business to give people advice about how to handle their family relationships, but I do have some thoughts in general. I was going to do a standalone video about that, share my thoughts on that, but I am sorry to hear that. That fucking sucks. I'd be interested to know, what do you think of your family? I don't know how you have any respect for anybody who's at this point in time supports Donald Trump. I mean, it's the absolute best that can be said for someone who at this point still supports Donald Trump is that they're a fucking idiot. That is the best that can be said. So I don't know. Sorry about that. That really sucks. Okay, I wish I could go longer. I really do. But today's just not, as you can see from my chaotic opening, today's not my day. But a lot more to talk about. And hopefully by tomorrow we'll know more about this raid on Fulton County. And next time we do this, hopefully I'll have more time to answer questions and stuff like that. But we'll see. Please, if you don't, follow my other two channels. Of course, there's the Romano Report and then Romano, where I post shorter videos. So please check that out. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Again, I'm sorry for the chaotic nature of today's episode, but I'll be back again real soon. I thank you for watching, and have a good one. Talk to you later.